Welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to brand new video. Arsenal preparing to give Mikel Arteta a new deal that will see him stay as Arsenal manager beyond 2024-2025 campaign. And the big question that we have in this video, does Mikel Arteta deserve a new deal at Arsenal? His current deal will end next season at the end. So that means that even if he doesn't sign a new deal, he's still Arsenal manager at least for one more campaign. But of course, to keep him away from all these clubs that are interested in him, to keep him away from all these poachers that are looking at young managers, Arsenal are thinking about giving the gaffer a new deal. Do you think Mikel deserves a new deal at Arsenal? Has he done enough? And when should we give him the new deal? At the end of this campaign? At the end of next season? During next season? When is the right time to give the gaffer a new deal? I want your thoughts. I want your opinions in the comment box below, because for me this is a very sensitive topic, especially when it comes to timing of Mikel Arteta's new deal. For me, whether he deserves it or not, I think that's a no-brainer. It's not a question. He's done well. He's done absolutely disgustingly well. He's been an absolute freak ever since he signed for Arsenal, restoring the respect this team deserves and restoring the image and reputation of Arsenal Football Club. He's got results against Man City. He's got results against Liverpool. He's got results against managers that we thought we would never beat. He's beaten Klopp. He's beaten Pep Guardiola, and he is he's showing us what the future is like, and the future is very bright. However, Mikel Arteta as well has spent over 600 million, okay, we'll say 500 million ever since he took up that position as Arsenal manager. And that means that there's going to be some level of accountability somewhere, somehow. He's got to win something. He's got to show us the return. He's got to show us the return on investment. And as Arsenal fans, we want trophies, and we haven't seen them a lot. Of course, we have the Community Shield, and we also have the FA Cup, which is you'd say bonuses, but we want the real gist. The real gist is the Premier League. The real gist is the UEFA Champions League. So, Mikel, where are you standing with him? He gets a new deal, or do you say he doesn't get a new deal just yet? We wait until he wins something. Let's get into it, right? So, for me, with Mikel Arteta, the real big question is, does he deserve it? Right? And I think this is where anyone would look first at giving a manager a new deal. Does he deserve it? Because a new contract, believe it or not, is more of an appreciation. It's more of at the end of the day, it's a motivation, but also it's an appreciation from the club to say, you've done well. We would love you to stay as manager, and therefore we would love you to maybe increase what you're earning at the club, or maybe we would love to make our vows a little bit better. We would love to back you better. We would love to give you more money to spend in the market. We would love to give you much better players, and we'd love to give you much better facilities as well. That is what a new deal is all about. It's not about continuity. It's about elevating the conditions under which the manager is working, the salary he's getting, the privileges he's getting, the amount of say he has in club decisions and all that. And I think we have seen it with Mikel Arteta's previous contract. When he signed a new deal, his say in who comes in, when they come in, especially in terms of transfers and signings, increased, and he was elevated to that level where he can tell Edu, and he sit down with Edu and he says, I think I want Martin Odegaard. And Edu says, no, we are going to sign Hosea Mowa. And Mikel says, no, I want Martin Odegaard. And Edu says, we should try Madison. And Mikel says, no, I want Martin Odegaard. So that is what a new deal entails, in my opinion. It involves the manager getting something, kind of a reward for what he's done. And I think for Mikel Arteta, he's actually really, got to that level where we've got to reward him. He deserves it, right? So among the points I've written here on my notebook, why I think Mikel Arteta's contract has to be renewed, I think he's built everything apart from winning for the club. He's achieved almost everything an Arsenal fan, has been missing. Because imagine on Arsene Wenger's 1000 game, we lost to Chelsea 6-0. Chelsea have just lost 5 goals to 0 to Arsenal. So you understand what I'm talking about. You understand where I'm coming, where I'm coming from. That regardless of the titles that we haven't won, regardless of the silverware that we are still chasing, there is a narrative. He's given us a narrative of what to talk about. We've beaten Jurgen Klopp, we've beaten Manchester City, we've gone toe-to-toe with Liverpool, City in this season, and Liverpool have dropped off. We've gone toe-to-toe with Manchester City last season, and we dropped off, but of course, that was a massive step. Going with Manchester City, the billionaires, the treble billionaires, that is already a massive step for me, for Mikel Arteta. So, rebuilding this team, the respect Arsenal had lost, the respect this team, never had again, it's back. Clubs are terrified of playing Arsenal, and those clubs that are terrified of playing Arsenal are punished. You look at clubs like Chelsea, they feel and they think they can play whichever way they want against us. We have discombobulated and disembodied them. So for me, the respect and the rebuild that he has actually brought at this club is one reason why I would give him a new deal. But not only that, and that's why Mikel is deserving of a new deal, right? Talk about the levels and standards at Arsenal Football Club. Talking about, talk about the success in transfers and the success in the window, which is one of the reasons why Arsenal is sitting where we are at this point in time. So you think about the level of standards that have been raised. Look at our captain, Martin Odegaard. You don't hear stories of Odegaard coming late in training. You don't hear, stories of Martin Odegaard, lazing around. You don't say it. The standards of this football club, when we lose one game, we are ranting, we are shouting, it's not good enough. Because he has set the bar so high. And this is what happens when a team gets a good gaffer. You forget losing. You forget that losing is an option, right? And that's why we all shout and we all get moody and discombobulated when Arsenal lose a game. Because Mikel has raised the standards to the level that losing a game to Aston Villa, by the way, Aston Villa are a really good side. So if Villa lost a game to Liverpool, I mean, it's okay, right? But if Villa beats Liverpool, Villa are a good side. They've invested some good money and they have a top manager. But Mikel has made sure that the standards are we don't lose. We either win or we don't lose. That is the standards. And that is one reason for me, any guy should stay in the job. But on top of that, the Cronkies will be very happy that they've got a guy that can get transfers right. One of the things that are drowning clubs right now is fake transfer gurus and fake transfer, and analysts that are actually spotting for them high-profile, expensive signings, which are eventually becoming a problem, and then eventually, you face financial losses. With Arsenal and Mikel Arteta, you've got to say that we've got a guy that believes in himself, right? He really, really does believe in himself to an extent that he's going to go out there and sign 4 players, and he's going to integrate them in the starting 11, and all of them are actually going to raise in value. Believe me or not, Kai Havertz is worth 50 million right now. Declan Rice is more than 100. Raya is more than the 35 we bought him at. And Julian Timber, he will be a valuable asset. So when we talk about those, and then we add Ben White, who has been the best right back in the Premier League this season, and then we add Odegaard, the best number 10 at the club, then we obviously one of the best in the Premier League as well. Then we add the likes of Gabriel Martinelli. Of course, he did buy Gabriel Martinelli, but you can see how he's helped him develop as a player. Financially, this team could sell 2 players and we raise 200 million. That's the truth. You sell Odegaard and William Saliba, and you raise 200 million. And I don't think Arsenal, at this point in time, are afraid of financial distress, right? Even if we had a stumble in our finances, we could sell 1 guy or 2 players and raise 200 million. That is what Mikel Arteta has done. But also, the wage bill, he's actually corrected it. The likes of Socrates Papules, who are getting a lot of money, he's cleared all that. And for me, those are the major reasons you look at before rewarding your manager. And when I look at those reasons, the gaffer deserves a new deal. I mean, just hit the like button if you think Mikel Arteta deserves a new deal, because I think he deserves a new deal. I'm not going to be pessimistic. I'm not going to be negative. Yeah, there are times when he really, really gets to my nerves. But before all that, he is a good manager, and we are happy to have him. And I think he deserves a new deal. Now, when does he get the new deal? That's another question that we've got to factor into this conversation. Because him getting the deal is something that he deserves. But when do we give him the new deal, right? This season, I think Mikel Arteta is safe. And he knows that he's safe. Whether he wins the Premier League or not, Liverpool have already given him second spot. So, regardless of what happens, Arsenal will finish second. Right? For me, Liverpool have crumbled away. And secondly, Mikel Arteta could have a much better season than the one he had last campaign and still not win the title. Like, it's ridiculous, but also very, very, testament of the levels that we have in the Premier League. That Manchester City, with Man City in the league, if you don't raise up to 40 points halfway and 90 points end of the campaign, you might not be able to win the league. And that is the truth, right? That's the truth with Manchester City. So if Mikel ends up at 88 or 89 points, right? Right now he's on the road to 89 points. That is 4 points better than we achieved last campaign. If he gets to 88, 87, 89 points, if he does much better than he did last campaign, whether he wins the trophy or not, give him a new deal. But for me, this is the difference. If Mikel Arteta doesn't win the Premier League, right, give him a new deal at the end of the season, but give it to him. Give him 2 years. It's my suggestion, right? It's my suggestion. Give him 2 more years, because you can't risk having Mikel going into another season uncertain about his future. The first thing you want to know is the player contract situation is settled, which is settled by Mikel and Edu. You also want to know that your gaffer is settled. You also want to know that your gaffer is in the right place, mentally, emotionally, and of course, economically. He is satisfied. So give him a new deal, but give him 2 years. And the reason is, for me, is this: Mikel has done well to motivate this team, young, energetic, and all that. But in the third season, right, it might fall away. We might need a new guy to take us to the promised land. We might need a Joshua. Mikel Arteta could be the Moses. We might need a Joshua. So if we get to need a Joshua, you don't want Mikel Arteta on a 3-year deal. That might make it difficult for us to sack him, right? And I'm very serious. I think Mikel, for me, next season has got to deliver. He's got to deliver. If he doesn't deliver an important piece of silverware next campaign, I'm not talking about the FA Cup, I'm not talking about the Carabao Cup, I'm not talking about the Community Shield. I'm talking about delivering a Premier League. Even if he wins one this season, he must win another next campaign, because next campaign is the season that this squad gets to the level where we want them. Next campaign is where most of these squad's players will be between 24 to 27. That is the prime age. They're no longer 21, they're no longer 22, they're no longer 23. They're no longer the youngest team in the league. They are the ripe team. They are the real deal. So for me, if he doesn't win anything this campaign, we give him 2 years. If he wins anything this campaign, 3 years. If he wins the Premier League this campaign, which is the only option he's got, you give him 3 years and you give him 250 million to compete with the bastards with oil. Because the truth is, Mikel Arteta has been a great manager. But look at what he's competing with, right? Look at what he's competing with. We all say, oh, Manchester City, they win 15 games in a row at the end of the campaign, and we mourn about it. But the truth and reality is, Man City have invested across a long period of time. Man City have invested in the squad for quite some time, and that's where we want to be as Arsenal, and that's where any team wants to be. Right? You look at Kevin De Bruyne, that is like a 5 years ago signing. Rodri, maybe 5 years ago signing. You look at the core of that team. Bernardo Silva, you look at the core of that team. Most of those players didn't arrive today. And actually, the players that are really performing, Jack Grealish 3 years ago, Givardio 1 year ago, Ake 2 years ago. The players that are really performing are not far away signings, right? From long ago. But the important thing to focus on is that the core of the team was built half a decade or more ago. So give Mikel Arteta 250 million. After the 250 million, if he doesn't win anything still, sack him. That's the truth. Sack him. So this season, I've been Mikel Arteta out to the end. Next season, he's got to prove me. He's got to prove why my loyalty has to still be on his side. Because if he goes, we are still feared, we are still playing top football, but we are not winning. No. He's got to deliver. But for me, I think Mikel deserves a new deal, right? All the scumbags out there that are saying suck him, what, they just they're looking for clicks. He's got to get a new deal. Trust me. He's got to get a new deal.